She's back with episode 2 of Meet a Person with Job. The purpose of this series is to showcase the person in tandem with their job. We often think of a job as a 9-to-5, but the real work we need to pursue is in us. Work is an inevitable part of being, but how do we make it a part and not the whole of our identity? I'm starting with people in my immediate circle, cool people doing cool things that help to break the solution down that the value of being is beyond traditional ways of earning. Here's episode 2.
We're at the Met. Proof. And look who it is.
Hi, my name is Mac at MatFacts on TikTok, and I focus on museum, arts, and culture, hence Mac.
Can you confirm, are you a millennial, a Gen Z? And if so, please tell us which Hogwarts house you've been sorted into.
I'm a Hufflepuff. And I one time
the amount
did
of Hufflepuffs that are around my life, I can't.
I have 4 jobs. I am person with jobs. I'm a museum educator, professor in a Department of Art and Design, social media stuff, including my account on TikTok.
Follow her. I have one job, and that's just to function. What made you choose the art path?
I grew up in Southeast Texas. I love where I grew up. And I also grew up doing dance. So I was always really interested in art. Whenever I was in junior college, I took a art history class and it really inspired me. And my teacher was really great. And so when I transferred to university, I did art education.
Is there one art piece that changed your life or some kind of show you've seen that made that moment happen for you? A click moment?
I would say that it would be my job that I had working at the University Museum. I worked there for 3 years before I moved to the city. And I was interested in working in museums. And once I got the job there, it was just like I completely fell in love with it.
Would you say is your biggest learning coming out of your master's program? Because I think a lot of people contemplate further education or not.
Yeah.
I know I certainly didn't because I wanted to get out of school as soon as possible, but
I really love school. I love the rigor of having things set out for me. Learning is important and money is temporary. Biggest thing for me is that I don't want to be afraid to be seen trying. That's kind of been my mantra these days. Yep. If I'm not good at something, whatever, I'll figure it out. If it takes more time than I thought, okay, I'm figuring it out,
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I think that's the biggest thing that I also learned in my late 20s, a little later than perhaps you, but in my 20s and 30s is the biggest and the hardest thing is to put yourself out there.
Yeah. The worst that can happen is
fail,
it doesn't work out. Yeah.
And it's okay to fail.
Yeah, 100%.
And people are so scared of the F word.
Yeah, or even just being embarrassed. And there's just no reason. How people are this is everyone's first time living.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter. Don't be embarrassed.
Speaking of, what are one of these things that you've done recently where you tried and you were low-key embarrassed, but you learned there was something beautiful coming out of it?
I would say the biggest thing is definitely starting my TikTok page. Like I said, I'm kind of involved in the arts in a bunch of different ways, but what I'm really passionate about is learning and education. And so I kind of started my TikTok page as a way to be an extension of me being an educator. Getting people more comfortable with museums and with art. And it's really turned into something really great. And it's given me a lot of cool opportunities. Right now, I'm being a friendship ambassador for Public Art Fund, which is an organization I really love and admire because they do tons of free programs and exhibitions around the city. And so it's really been really fun to get to be a part of things like that.
And you were a sidewalk correspondent for a financial podcast.
I think that was a personality hire because I literally do not know anything about finance, obviously. But it was really fun. I don't care.
I recently just feel comfortable telling people my age.
No, I don't care.
It's a long story. I had a chip on my shoulder for the longest time about knowing my age because I always looked so young that people took advantage of me or underestimated me. So I would always keep it a secret.
Yeah.
But now I'm a big girl. I'm 32. I'm not even a big girl. I'm a fucking grown-ass woman. And so now I'm just I'm owning my 30s. One thing I'm really interested in is how we are all individually navigating our 20s. And I think The New York 20s breed is a special breed because you have different factors that are coming at you, not just the city, but also just the pressures of thriving here. And so tell me more about what you're working on now, or what you've learned so far in your 20s and how you're putting that into work now. So let's start professionally and then move to personally.
I would say the biggest thing for me as someone who has moved from Southeast Texas, which is like obviously a really different culture than a lot of other places, I felt like I was so behind when I lived there. I was like, oh my gosh, you know, like I should be married, I should like be, you know, in reality, like none of those things matter. Like everyone's on their own timeline. And so even though I'm maybe not exactly where I hope I would, you know, like I wish I had health insurance and I haven't done my taxes for last year yet. I think like I'm really proud of what I've cultivated here, coming here not knowing anyone and just coming for school.
You're working on?
I'm working on being in flux. Like
being in the gray.
Yeah, kind of just like figuring things out, being happy with my jobs that I am doing because they are super rewarding for me, and not feeling like I have to stick to the, you know, Monday through Friday 9 to 5 that a lot of people expect. Well, I'm a very career motivated person.
Same.
So I would say like majority of my life is influenced by career. My career is going well, everything else is stunning.
Wow, you're speaking my language. Okay, I can understand why we get along outside the Hufflepuff piece, but we'll talk about that later.
We talked about this and more clips will come, but I find Mac really inspiring because she is doing many jobs, being an educator, meeting different people, and trying to spread the good word of learning how to appreciate art and have art fit in the landscape of New York. So find Mac in the wild, maybe in the halls of the Met, or maybe your next favorite New York City museum. But if you bump into her, say hi and tell them Person with Job sent you.
All right. Thanks, Mac, for such a great tour. More to come. Bye.
Okay, goodbye.